Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Tech Talk, where we'll be discussing how to electrify your fleet with New Jersey's Clean Fleet EV program. I'm Caroline McCallum, the new director of the New Jersey Clean Cities Coalition. As a 501c3 nonprofit designated by the Department of Energy, New Jersey Clean Cities works to help New Jersey fleets reduce emissions, adopt alternative fleet fuels, and move towards a cleaner transportation future. We're thrilled to have you here today. This session is designed to help you understand how the Clean Fleet EV program can support your fleet electrification goals. So here's what we're covering today. An overview of the Clean Fleet EV program, eligibility and application process, electrification benefits, and a live Q&A with our panel. Again, feel free to drop questions into the chat at any time. We'll also open up the microphone after the presentation are complete if you raise your hand and you'd like to ask a question live. We'd like to take a moment to recognize today's sponsors, including the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, who funds this program. We have representatives from the New Jersey BPU on the line today, and they're welcome to jump in during the conversation as they'd like. We'd also like to thank our partners at the Center for Sustainable Energy, who we worked closely with to bring you today's webinar. I'm thrilled to be joined by the experts who help administer this program and support fleets throughout New Jersey. Our panelists today include Dervla DePrima, who will guide us through program design and key details, Jordan Winborn, who will support questions on program requirements, processing, timelines, and incentive disbursements, and Vartan Badalian, who will provide insight on program intent and implementation. We also have Mariah Birnbaum, who will be running the slides, and Nikki Laberty, who will be monitoring the chat and sharing your questions during the Q&A. From New Jersey Clean Cities, I'm joined by our intern, Fatma Bey, who will be supporting today's call as well. And with that, I'm delighted to pass the presentation over to Dervla and Mariah.
And good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Tech Talk on the New Jersey Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program. We're really thrilled that you're here today to learn about how this program can support your organization's clean energy and fleet electrification goals. And we'd love to hear what questions you have about the program today. My name is Dervla DePrima and I'll be leading us through the presentation today. I'm a senior manager with the Center for Sustainable Energy, which administers the Clean Fleet program on behalf of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. I'm joined by staff from the BPU and my colleagues Vartan, Jordan, and Nikki, who will be supporting the Q&A portion in particular. Before we begin, I did want to just thank all of you for your interest and your time in advance, as well as thanking the Clean Cities and Communities team for all your support with this event. We will have a question and answer session at the end of today's call, and to help us make the most of that today, please feel free to ask any questions in the chat as we go. Our team will be collecting those for the Q&A portion at the end. However, you're also welcome to unmute and ask a question live when we get to that point as well. We'll also be sharing a few helpful email addresses and links in the Zoom chat as we go, so you don't have to worry about screenshotting or looking at the presentation later. So we hope that's helpful to you. And we hope you just ultimately consider participating in this great program. And we'll begin this presentation giving an overview of the program's goals and history, and then dive more into details about what the available incentives are, as well as giving you an overview of the EZ application process. So here we have just some key information about the Clean Fleet program. The New Jersey Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program aims to help local, state, and nonprofit fleets switch to electric vehicles by providing incentives for electric vehicles as well as charging infrastructure. The Clean Fleet program offers charger incentives for both level 2 and DC fast chargers, so you can charge any new EVs easily at your sites. And the program also offers make-ready incentives, so you can get ready to install EV chargers in case you're not ready for the actual chargers themselves at this point. The program also prioritizes transportation electrification in low and moderate income communities by providing increased incentives in overburdened municipalities. You can apply to the program by visiting the program website listed here and completing a simple online two-step application process. Applications are currently open and will remain open until funds remain available. Next, we'll review a little bit of the history of the program. So the New Jersey Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program started as a small state energy fund pilot in 2019. Next slide, please. Initially, the program aimed to help local governments adopt EVs, but since then has expanded significantly in scale, scope, and eligibility. These changes further support fleet electrification throughout New Jersey. And the program now includes equity bonuses for overburdened municipalities, new incentives for fleet charging infrastructure, expanded eligibility to nonprofits, increased incentive funding for eligible EVs and charging infrastructure. And lastly, the program also includes per entity caps and increased incentive amounts. The program offers funding for eligible EVs, level 2 chargers, DC fast chargers, and make-ready infrastructure. On the next slide, we'll give you an overview of the two entities involved in the Clean Fleet program, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities and the Center for Sustainable Energy. The New Jersey Board of Public Utilities is the official administrative authority for the Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program. The BPU designs, authorizes, and oversees the program's structure, funding allocations, eligibility, and application guidelines. And the Center for Sustainable Energy, or CSE, has been the program administrator. Administration tasks include application processing, incentive management, application portal oversight, outreach, and other reporting. And CSE is your direct point of contact about the program. CSE also administers other incentive programs on behalf of the Board of Public Utilities. These include incentives for personal EVs and chargers at residents, as well as at various locations throughout the state. If you're interested in any of these programs, please feel free to visit our website or contact us at chargeupnj@energycenter.org. And we'll be sharing some of these helpful links and email addresses in the chat as we go. So the Clean Fleet program is very flexible for your needs and offers incentives for a lot of different items, including battery EVs and various EV charging equipment, as well as those make-ready costs that I mentioned earlier, so you can get ready for EVs and EV chargers without taking on a full-scale electrification project immediately. No matter what type of incentive you need, the program features a simple two-step online application process where you reserve funding and then after purchase or installation, apply to sort of receive or redeem that allocated funding. And we'll share more about that process shortly. As you'll see on this slide, there's a variety of incentive levels available depending on what equipment you're interested in. In addition to the following per unit amounts, there are bonus incentives on top of the amounts listed here, depending on what equipment you select and where the project is located. So for example, sites in overburdened municipalities are eligible for a 50% bonus, which can be applied in one of two ways, either as an additional incentive amount or as an eligibility for additional vehicles or chargers. Our staff automatically review applications to confirm if you're eligible for that bonus, as well as reviewing the details of your application with you as part of the step one of the application process to help you maximize your incentive and confirm all the details there. So I'll just walk through a couple of the incentive amounts here, and there's more information available on the program website as well as in the terms and conditions for full details on how the incentives work. But for battery electric vehicles, the program offers incentives for light-duty vehicles up to $4,000 and Class 2B-6 vehicles up to $10,000. For level 2 charging equipment, so sort of the low and slow style EV chargers, the program offers incentives of up to $4,000 for fleet sites, and then for public sites up to $5,000. For DC fast chargers, incentives vary based on the power level of the equipment, which sort of roughly corresponds to how fast it can take to get a full charge using that equipment. So for the lower power chargers that are between 50 and 100 kilowatts, up to $60,000. For higher power chargers between 100 to 200 kilowatts, up to $100,000. And for the highest power chargers eligible, so those are 200 kilowatts and above, up to $180,000. In addition, there is a bonus incentive of $5,000 for any Energy Star certified DCFCs that you install through the program. And then a little bit about make-ready incentives. The program offers $5,000 for level 2 make-ready, and then for DC fast charger make-ready up to $50,000. And a couple administrative notes on incentives I'll touch on, but highly recommend reading through the detailed program materials for full information. Incentives are valid through June 30th, 2026, or until funding is exhausted. There are award caps determined based on the type of organization and the size of the community that your organization serves. And these caps specify the number of vehicles and chargers that an entity can apply for. Next, we'll review some details about the level 2 and DCFC charging equipment that is eligible for the program. As we've mentioned, the Clean Fleet program offers incentives for both level 2 and DC fast chargers. This slide does have a little bit of technical terminology that I realize not everyone may be familiar with. So if you're new to EVs and EV charging, the ChargeUp website has some helpful resources about charging basics and EV technology that might be of interest to you. In addition, these requirements are also spelled out in the application and terms and conditions documents. So for DC fast chargers, the program allows any brand of DCFC equipment as eligible, provided that it is dual port, UL 2202 listed, at least OCPP 1.6 certified, and capable of networking with a state compliant network provider. For level 2 chargers, any brand of level 2 charging equipment with standard connectors available for use by all EVs and that meet the following requirements are eligible: Energy Star certified, dual port, UL 2594 listed, at least OCPP 1.6 certified, and capable of networking with a state compliant network provider. Next, we'll explain what organizations are eligible for incentives for this kind of equipment and what the benefits of electrifying your fleet. So the Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program is now available to local, state, and nonprofit entities. This includes a wide variety of organizations, and those eligible entities include local government entities, local schools, nonprofit organizations, state government, state agencies, state boards or commissions, state colleges and universities, county government, and county authorities. Please feel free to share this information with your professional networks and any interested colleagues in case there's a better person at your organization who's interested in the program. Next, we'll discuss some key benefits of electrifying your fleet. And as a friendly reminder, if you have any questions popping into your mind, please go ahead and add those to the Zoom chat, and we'll try to address as many as possible during the Q&A session in a little bit. So there are many benefits to electrifying your fleet, ranging from economic to environmental to achieving longer-term sustainability goals. I am curious if there are any other benefits your organization is hoping to achieve with fleet electrification. Please feel free to share that in the chat. We'd love to hear your perspectives and comments on that. So I'll touch on a few of these. Some of the economic benefits of fleet electrification include reduced maintenance and fuel costs for your organization's fleets, lower total cost of ownership over the lifetime of those vehicles, as well as just access to incentives. Some of the environmental benefits of fleet electrification include zero tailpipe emissions from electric vehicles, which helps support improved air quality, as well as helping support public and overall employee health. And lastly, one of the sort of environmental benefits we hear a lot from folks is actually the decreased noise from fleet operations, which can benefit your community as a whole, as well as employees at job sites. And lastly, one of the benefits of fleet electrification is supporting your organizations and communities' energy independence by helping avoid escalating or changing gas prices and instead fueling up using electricity. as well as helping modernize your organization's facilities with those EV chargers and sort of complementary clean energy projects. While we realize that fleet electrification projects entail sometimes significant costs and time needed for planning and execution, the long-term benefits typically outweigh these challenges, and the Clean Fleet program provides substantial help through the program incentives to help make these a reality for your organization and your community as a whole. And next, we'll share some ways that the Clean Fleet program can kickstart your fleet electrification through pilot projects that we've heard from various participants in the past. So one of the great benefits of the Clean Fleet program is that the vehicle and charger incentives provide a really practical way to start electrifying your fleet through a pilot project. It is very scalable to what your organization is interested in terms of vehicles as well as charger types. And even with a small investment in a couple of EVs, for example, your organization can start to see those maintenance savings and other benefits that we discussed earlier. It's also a great communications tool for future electrification because you can establish a baseline to show progress towards clean transportation goals and develop additional organizational and community support as others are able to understand what those benefits are. If you're new to fleet electrification, there are a few tips to get started with a pilot project. One of the recommendations we have is to focus on light-duty battery electric vehicles. They're easy to integrate into your fleet, lower cost, and heavily incentivized. You can also pair vehicles with dual-port level 2 chargers at a site and allow for room for future expansion of those EV chargers, as well as additional vehicles. You can use the pilot project as a learning lab, documenting vehicle use, costs, and driver feedback to help with future planning. And after about 6 to 12 months, usually a lot of that data becomes useful and available to share and demonstrate those monetary savings, vehicle performance savings, as well as greenhouse gas emissions reductions from fleets. And I did want to just call out in particular, there are additional state programs that help with fleet electrification. So you're not doing this on your own. In particular, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Fleet Advisor Program provides help with the technical planning of fleet electrification. This assistance includes vehicle suitability analysis, total cost of ownership modeling, infrastructure readiness tools, and more. And we've included that website here in case that's of interest to your organization. On the next slide, we'll go into more information about the application process for this program. And if you have any questions about the process, I did want to mention we have Jordan Wimborne, our operations manager, here as part of the Q&A session to help address any particular questions about how that works. So as I mentioned, applying for Clean Fleet incentives is an easy two-step process. The applications are completely online and are simple to use online forms. As part of step 1, you provide details of your planned vehicle purchases, project site, and chargers of interest. And if approved, incentive funding will be reserved for your project. Center for Sustainable Energy staff will review your application and follow up with you on any questions. And then once you have purchased the eligible EVs and have them in hand or installed the eligible EV chargers, you go ahead and complete the step 2 online application. In that step, you provide proof of purchase or installation. Our staff review the application again and then share back with you details on the final award amount based on that information if anything has changed between the two steps. There are a couple just administrative notes to keep in mind on the application process. Any program changes typically go into effect in early July. So we encourage you to visit the website periodically, especially around that time period to stay tuned for any program changes. We also recommend confirming vehicle details with your fleet managers to ensure that the accurate amount of incentives are reserved. Sometimes the same model of vehicle can be in multiple weight classes depending on the details of that vehicle. So that's just a particular detail to keep in mind. Awards can be revised downwards between the two steps, but not upwards. So do recommend, if you're not sure on the exact number of chargers, maybe aim a little bit higher to ensure the incentive matches what your project ends up being. So hope that was helpful information. Next, we'll be transitioning to the question and answer portion of the presentation, and we'll try to address as many questions as we can during that section today. If you haven't already, please feel free to add your questions to the Zoom chat or go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question you'd like to share live. And thank you again for your time today. We hope that you learned a lot about the Clean Fleet EV and EV charging program, what it has to offer, and that you all consider participating. We've listed the program customer service phone number and email here. Please feel free to take a quick screenshot of that. We'll also be sharing that in the chat. One other resource we'll share with you is a link to the Clean Fleet EV program email listserv, so you can sign up for future program announcements and share that resource with any colleagues. As we go into the Q&A portion today, my colleague Nikki Laverty will be sharing questions from the chat with the panelist group, and my colleagues Jordan Winborn and Vartan Badalian will assist in answering those questions. And as we go ahead and shift gears into the Q&A, I did want to mention there's one other resource that may be helpful for all of you, and that is called the EV Savings Hub. This resource shows state and utility programs that can help your organization save money on EVs, charging equipment, and more. We've included the website here as well, which is updated quarterly. So did want to just wrap up and say thank you again for your time today, and I'll transition over to Nikki to help with our Q&A. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Derva. So our first question from the chat came from John, and John was curious, do local authorities qualify that are not county-based? If you have a little bit more information, John, as far as which type of authority you're referring to, then I'm happy to have you hop off mute and answer that. But if not, Jordan can give some general guidance on who does and does not qualify.
No, I'd be happy to add some information. So we are a regional sewage authority. We're owned by 11 towns. So we are part of the state, benefits program, state pension, but we are not specifically a county or a state agency. And that's why I just want, because you were pretty specific about a county authority, I want to make sure that a regional authority would also qualify.
Yeah, thanks, John. I can definitely answer that question. Yes, so those regional authorities do qualify. In fact, one of our recent applicants has been the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission. So I believe that may be right up your alley there.
Perfect, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jordan. So next up in the chat, we did have a suggestion from George that we will take back to our team for consideration to add a review page in the application form, just so that everyone has a chance to review their details before submitting and improve that accuracy there for the applications. But next up for questions, we had Stanislav asking, are the BPU incentives stackable with utility or even DEP incentives? And that, Jordan, I will pass to you as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Stanislav. Yep. So for utilities, the Clean Fleet incentive is stackable. So essentially what would need to happen is we go through the normal application process through Clean Fleet. Once an incentive is approved, we'll consult, or you'll consult with the utility program and what incentives they provide there, and the overall incentive will be 90% of the total project costs. As far as DEP incentives, so I know there's the It Pays the Plug program, which incentivizes similar amounts or similar units as the Clean Fleet program. However, those incentives are not stackable with Clean Fleet or vice versa for the same charging station. So you can potentially have incentives from the DEP program for other charging stations at the same time that you have equipment incentivized by Clean Fleet, but it just can't be the same thing, or it just can't be for the same equipment. So hope that clears it up a little bit.
All right, fantastic. And we have a related question from Angel. Actually has two questions, but we'll start with whether or not the incentives can be stacked with state funding.
Yep.
State and federal funding.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So yes, the Clean Fleet program can be stacked with federal funding as well. And then, as I mentioned, essentially I know we do administer other BPU programs such as MED and EV tourism. However, it's the same rule kind of applies with the DEP. That those incentives can't be stacked for the same exact charging station throughout like BPU programs or DEP programs.
All right, thank you for the clarity there. And Angel's other question was whether a Class 6 electric school bus is eligible for funding, and to caveat that, whether it must be paired with charger funding or if the funding is available for the vehicle only.
Yep. And thanks again. Yes, so you are able to apply for both vehicles and chargers, or you could do either or. You can apply for an electric bus if you'd like to, or just a charging station if you'd like to. As far as the Class 6 electric buses, so those will qualify in terms of our definition of Class 6. It's congruent with the Federal Highway Administration definition of Class 6, which is, I believe, up to 26,000 pounds.
Right. So we have a couple of questions also from Hima. First is, can a bi-state agency be part of the incentive? Do we need a little bit more information on that question? If Hima can come off mute, perhaps. Oh, Port Authority. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
Okay, thanks. Yep. If it's in terms of a Port Authority, yes, those will be eligible for Clean Fleet as a kind of like Port Authority state agency. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Thank you.
Wonderful. And the second question here is, if a facility needs a transformer to increase the capacity of electrification, can that installation be incentivized? So I believe this is a make-ready question.
Yeah, for the transformers, that's going to be on the utility side, make-ready. So that would not be covered by Clean Fleet. However, there are many incentives offered by the utility company servicing the project site. So we would advise checking with the utility company there.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. And right now, the last question that I see in the chat is from George. And Jordan, this one I believe would also be for you. For DC fast chargers, does the kilowatt output minimum have to be per port while simultaneously charging, or just for one port at any time?
Yep. Thanks, George. So I will kind of give an example. If we're talking about a DCFC station that is a 125 kilowatt station that can provide 120 or 120 kilowatts to one vehicle, and then simultaneously, if we have two chargers connected to the station, as long as it's capable of powering its full capacity, which if the full capacity for two vehicles being charged at that same station is like 62.5 kilowatts, that will qualify as through our program 100 to 200 kilowatt charger in terms of an incentive level.
All right, thank you very much. And Stanislav has a follow-up question. I believe that this is more of a policy question. If Vartan, you can take this one. It appears that all BPU incentives require dual ports, and just curious as to what the reasoning was behind that.
Yeah, happy to provide a high level clarity beyond the fact that it's just the nature of the program design that BPU wants to foster. The intention of the program is to enable dual port electrification for chargers, and that's how the program's been designed. Happy to take this consideration back to the BPU and among this core team, and we can integrate it into potential thoughts for future design. But for right now, the programs all are focused on dual port.
Thank you, Vartan. I did want to note just one thing. I would recommend reviewing the program terms and conditions. There are some notes about port configuration that I think would be helpful for the person who asked the question to just review. I would also encourage you just to reach out to us at the email listed on the screen or the phone number. We can help you with understanding those requirements in more detail offline.
All right, thank you very much, Jordan, for dropping that in the chat for everyone to access. And that does appear to be the last of the questions that were dropped into the chat. And would anyone like to come off mute and ask anything further?
I'm going to jump in and just circle back. I saw a question from Salima that came in on whether off-grid or mobile charging can be applied for or relevant for this funding.
Yep, thanks. For the purposes of this program, the mobile chargers will not be eligible.
Got it. Thank you so much. Great questions from the audience. I really appreciate the participation. I have a question as well that I wanted to just check in on and see if there are a maximum number of vehicles that a fleet can apply for when they're looking at the charging, or a max number of chargers as well.
Yep. So thanks for asking. This is dependent on a few things. One is the population of the entity that is applying, unless it is more on the state level, like a state agency. There, you can apply for up to 20 BEVs, up to 8 DC fast chargers, and up to 15 level 2 chargers. In terms of by population, it just ranges. We can find additional information on the website.
And then, oh, that was great. Thank you so much, Jordan. Appreciate it. And another question that kind of came to mind as you were going through that is whether or not you have a timeline on when you think the funds might either expire or run out, or how urgent do our interested applicants here need to be in getting their applications in?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So, current projections show plenty of funding through the end of this current fiscal year, which is at the end of which ends at the end of June. However, I will say, there's never a better time than now to make sure, because funding is first come, first served. So again, if anybody has questions on that, feel free to contact us on funding. Currently we are projecting well through June 2026.
Awesome. And then just one last question is whether or not people can apply directly through the links here, or if they can go to the New Jersey One-Stop Shop. Are they available in both places?
Yep. So I have dropped the link to the phase 1 application. So you can access it there. You can also access it on the Clean Fleet website. And you can also access the Clean Fleet website by the one-stop shop link, which we'll also share as well.
Awesome. Well, this has been really wonderful, and truly appreciate everybody's time. I'm just going to do just a note to George Kutsarada at Bryan Electric to say that he's available to help with grants and their projects on electrification, so you can reach out to him. All right, so just want to say thank you very much. We really appreciate all of your time, the great questions that you brought to the table today. We really appreciate the guidance from our fabulous panel and the presentation, sharing the information, helping get the word out about this funding, and ensuring that New Jersey fleets have access to this fabulous information. A big thank you to our presenters at the Center for Sustainable Energy, Dervla, Jordan, Vartan, Mariah, and Nikki, as well as our colleagues from the NJBPU for their support and partnership. A recording of today's session and a copy of the slides will be sent out shortly. If we didn't get to your question, we'll follow up individually. So you have everything you need to move forward. As we wrap up the year, I also wanted to share that we'll be offering several more Tech Talk sessions in 2026 to continue supporting fleets across New Jersey. Keep an eye out on your inbox for these announcements. We'd love to have you join us again. And if you'd like assistance for applying for the Clean Fleet EV program or exploring fleet electrification opportunities, please reach out to us anytime here at the New Jersey Clean Cities. We're here to help. And before you go, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to share your perspective on fleet electrification by filling out our EV survey, which is the first QR code on this screen here. It'd take about 10 minutes, and it would really help us understand how electrification is moving in New Jersey and your perspective on it. Thank you all again for spending time with us here today. Happy holidays. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.